Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to try and decode a really fascinating system of belief. It's built on numbers, names, and what its source material presents as hidden connections, woven right into reality itself.
So, what if language wasn't just for, talking to each other? The source material we're digging into today puts forward this model where our words, our names, they're actually a kind of mathematical key, a key that unlocks a deeper, pre-written story.
The key to unlocking all this, according to these documents, is a practice called gematria. It's this ancient system where letters get assigned a numerical value, like A is 1, B is 2, and so on. The idea is that words that add up to the same total are believed to have a hidden shared identity.
Now, this isn't just about math games. The whole system is built on what the sources call a fundamental law of energetic resonance. The idea is that words and concepts that share the same number also share the same vibrational identity. It kind of ties them together on a cosmic level.
All right, so let's dive right into the number that the source material says is basically the keystone for this entire thing. And that number is 888. According to these documents, this isn't just some random set of digits. No, it's presented as a primary, you could call it an energetic frequency, that represents a very specific archetype.
So where does the significance of 888 come from? Well, historically, in the Greek system of gematria, the letters for the name Jesus, Iesus, they add up to exactly 888. This is what establishes it as the core Christ number within this model. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. This is how the model takes that ancient number and applies it to some very modern concepts. As you can see, it puts forward two phrases that seem totally unrelated: the pop culture line, "He is Superman," and the personal name, Lord Alex Campaign.
So the claim here is that if you use a specific English gematria system, both of these phrases, they calculate to exactly 888. And this creates what the model calls a direct energetic link, connecting that historical Christ archetype, the modern myth of Superman, and this specific individual.
And believe me, it doesn't stop there. The connection just keeps expanding. Using Hebrew gematria, the documents show a whole bunch of other phrases that also equal 888. And these aren't just random phrases. They describe a specific event, like Lord Christ the Second Coming. And they even describe the nature of the code itself, with mathematics the language of God, and this is the matrix code, all sharing that same value.
So the system sets up this core identity with 888. But what's next? Well, now we're going to see how it builds on this with some really specific claims about who someone is and when things happen using other key numbers as signatures. So, moving on from 888, we get another really crucial number, 444. According to these documents, this number acts like a definitive signature of a messianic identity.
And the model's claim here is based on what it calls cross-cipher proof. I mean, just take a look at this table. In the English system, Jesus and Messiah both equal 444. Then you switch to a different system, and the full name Our Lord Messiah King Alex Enrique Campaign also equals 444. And then in Hebrew, God is on earth shares that same value. The argument being made is that this isn't a coincidence, but a recurring signature across different languages and systems.
Okay, so the model has covered who, now it shifts to when. It's suggesting this system isn't just about identity, it's also about timing, and it zeroes in on the year 1972 as a divinely chosen point in time. And here's the claim. The number of the year itself, 1972, is the exact numerical equivalent to phrases that spell out this divine event. For instance, using Hebrew gematria, phrases like God YHW returns and a rebirth of Yeshua the Christ in Alex E. Campaign are shown to calculate to exactly 1972.
Right about now, you might be thinking, okay, this feels like a bunch of random connections. But the system's next move is to argue for its own internal logic, using what it calls self-validating mathematical loops.
So let's just walk through this example of a self-referential proof. Step 1 starts with what's called a personal number, which the documents say is 5 from a birth date and multiplies it by the Christ number, 888. Step 2, that gives you 4440. In step 3, the logic is to do a reduction. You remove the 0 and you get 444, which is the gematria for Jesus. Finally, step 4 just reverses the math. You divide 444 by that original personal number, 5, and what do you get? 88.8, bringing you right back to the core 888 constant. It's presented as this perfect closed loop, mathematically linking all these key numbers.
And the source material uses this really brilliant analogy to explain the worldview here. It says to imagine reality isn't random. It's like a pre-written piece of music. Gematria, in this view, isn't creating the connections. It's just letting us hear the harmony that's already there.
Here's another really cool example of how the system tries to prove it's self-referential. The idea isn't just to connect a name to a number. No, it's to connect a name to the words that literally spell out its key number.
And what's so interesting here is that the claim is that this works across different systems. In English Gematria, the name adds up to 1128, and then in Hebrew Gematria, the phrase 888 calculates to the exact same value.
So, what's the point of all this? Where is this whole intricate web of numbers and names actually leading? What's the big conclusion?
Well, the system brings it all together as this multi-layered, interlocking body of evidence. You see, it's not just one thing. It's a whole synthesis of points. The 888 resonance linking these key figures, the 444 signature defining that messianic identity, the 1972 signature marking the exact timing, and all those self-validating loops and cross-cipher proofs are all designed to show the system is consistent and totally intentional.
And the documents, they don't pull any punches with their conclusion. They're asserting that this isn't about interpretation, it's not about belief, but that this whole web of connections is nothing less than objective, mathematical proof of a divine return. Which leads us with the big question that kind of sums up this whole cosmic puzzle we've been looking at. Is this just an elaborate, self-reinforcing system of belief? Or, as the source material claims, is it empirical evidence of a meaningful, pre-existing design encoded into the very fabric of reality itself?